Hi, I'm Chantal, and joining me today on the Sunflower Conversations is Lindsay Rowe Gidley. Hi, Lindsay, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Chantal?
Lindsay, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Well, I'm Lindsay. I've got hidden disabilities, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, and dyslexia.
Your first diagnosis was of dyspraxia when you were in year 6, did you say?
Yeah.
So for people that don't know, can you explain what dyspraxia is, please?
Yeah, it's like a coordination difficulty. We have a delayed reaction to things. We don't pick up social cues. It affects different people in different ways. For me, I'm just clumsy. I got no filter.
So what was it that the teachers or your mum or whoever it was thought, okay, well, I think we need to see what's happening with Lindsay? What was it that kind of flagged up to your adults around you that perhaps you needed to get a diagnosis?
I couldn't talk till I was 3. I found it difficult to do the everyday tasks, like tying shoelaces and doing other stuff. What happened was my mum was reading the paper one day, and there's a lad with a description of dyspraxia in this paper. And then she shouted, I still remember this day like yesterday. I was in my bedroom, she shouted at me and going, Lindsay, this is you. I'm like, what? What's me? This lad's got something called dyspraxia, and it's about everything that you suffer with, and you have dyslexia. Didn't pick up till I was 19. I thought it was always part of my dyspraxia, writing and stuff like that. And I was at the Princess Trust programme, and then they picked it up and said to me, do you not think you got dyslexia? I was like, what's that? It's like writing and difficulty reading, like writing things and seeing words jumbled up, and I want you to get a diagnosis. So I said, well, I don't know, because I got dyspraxia, and I thought it was always part of that. So they said, there's no harm in just going and getting a diagnosis test. So I did, and then that's when I got diagnosed with dyslexia.
And the final D, dyscalculia?
Yeah, I diagnosed that myself.
For someone who doesn't know what dyslexia is, you touched on it briefly.
Yeah.
What does that mean for you?
Dyslexia for me is I can read and write, but I have trouble interpreting what people saying. I always get who for how mixed up and what for where. Constant confusion sends me in such delusion. When the 8-year-old niece tells me to put the comma there, it sends me in despair. Using the dictionary sends me everywhere. I just want to tear out my hair. Why didn't you go to English class, they say? So I can sit there, look daft because I can't spell the word bath. What's that word, a constant edit? It don't make sense. This is constantly making me tense. When you can't play Scrabble or Google, constantly have to choose Google. Do you want a yellow and blue sheet? Sitting there trying not to admit defeat. What's that word? Dyslexia. What does it matter? Can't spell it anyway. So that's like
good. That's good. I think we should say at this point that Lindsay is a poet. That was beautiful. I love that. Thank you for doing that and sharing that with us.
There's many things that I've achieved in my life and stuff like that. I'm proud because my mum's always encouraged me.
Yeah.
Like never to let it stop you.
So your disability is not disabling.
Yeah. This is what I said. It's not disability, it's an ability.
What tools have you learned to help you with that?
Well, mostly like doing everything on my computer. So I can zoom in on the text. I can use text reader to read on my phone to get text reader to read it out. I use something like software like Grammarly.
How does that mean you interact with the world? Like, what challenges do you face?
Well, sometimes I get myself in a lot of trouble because I end up having no filter. I lived a sort of isolated life. I've only had a few friends that I've known from school, and because they're all like married and settled down and stuff like that. My mum's always strived and pushed me to achieve things. Even things that I don't want to do, I'm not doing that. I'll just give it a go. We're always like thick of food, me and my mum. We always go on courses together and we do stuff.
Tell us about your poetry. Can you tell
Well,
us about it? How did you get into it and how do you use it?
well, I started using poetry when I was 18 because the family situation was really destructive. So I then just started writing poetry just for myself, just to get my feelings out there because I always struggle with expressing myself. And then I just started to like think of things and writing poetry and started like doing my poetry. Like,
Where is it you volunteer? Is it with Shelter?
yeah, with Shelter, yeah.
And do you use any of your poetry when you're there?
Yeah, but that's like because I'm a group coordinator for art and wellbeing for the last 2 years, and I used a lot of my poetry, and I've gone in various things like Arthur and Martha and other competitions and stuff like that.
You tackle really hard subjects, real subjects that really matter.
It can be really triggering for people that have experienced it, but I like to like express how I think it is and how I feel about that subject.
Would you feel comfortable to recite one of your poems for us and our audience now?
Don't judge what you can't see. As I'm sat in the disabled or elderly seat on the bus, the disgust of passengers with their prying eyes, trying to flare my anxiety with their demoralising glare, makes me want to pull my face down in shame. Like I'm the blame for my dyspraxia. The passengers and the customer think I'm playing a game, just making the elderly walk ashamed to the back of the bus. I can hear all the fuss and the chatter on the bus. Why she sat there? She doesn't look disabled. She's perfectly able. She should be disgusted with herself, not wanting to help the elderly or infirmed. The words are burning me like a knife to my chest. Why is she not leaving that seat free in case anyone in a wheelchair that needs it? I will sit somewhere else for those that need it, but you don't mean to make me feel defeated. I'm sat in the right seat, so don't judge or don't stare when you don't know what's going on there. So don't judge what you can't see.
Beautiful. So you started recently wearing the sunflower. Has that helped?
I couldn't believe how much positive impact it had. Like people letting me go in front of queues, smiling at me, not like judging me sitting on the disabled seat, just being really helpful, considerate.
Would you recommend the sunflower to somebody else who has a non-visible disability?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm proud of wearing it. Like me, I didn't want to wear it at first because it's changed my perspective completely.
Thank you so much for giving up your time to have a chat with us today. I've learned a lot about the triple Ds, dyscalculia, dyslexia and dyspraxia, and our audience will really enjoy it as well.